Hello, my name's Andrew Hunt and I'm an economics lecturer at Plymouth University. I also lead the suite of undergraduate economics programmes. I'd like to spend the next few minutes telling you a little bit about those programmes and what they can offer you. Now, the economics programmes at Plymouth will help unlock your potential by focusing upon three main areas. First of these is around learning about the core ideas of the discipline. Second of these, developing your capabilities to express, use, communicate your economics to different audiences. Here, it may be you wanted to convince policymakers of arguments. It may be that you're wanting to convince a manager within business of your ideas for a key business decision and its change in strategy and so on. And the third block is around application of economics to areas that interest you. The areas may be environmental economics, international economics, financial economics, sustainable resource economics, and so on. And this is an area where Plymouth excels. If you look at the National Student Survey 2019, research showed that 100% of students who responded to this survey agreed that our staff were good at explaining things. If you have a look on our website, you'll find links to some of our staff profiles, and you'll see that our staff, they're not only experts in their field, with many publishing internationally recognised research, but they're also excellent at explaining things and communicating their ideas. Now, when you leave us, you'll hopefully very quickly enter graduate employment. And before I move on, I'd just like to give you a flavour of some of the diverse employers who have rapidly snapped up some of our recent graduates. From Lloyd's Insurance, Her Majesty's Treasury as policy advisors, a good number of students going to one of the big four accountancy firms, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst& Young, had people go to HSBC graduate programme, more local to Plymouth, students going to the Babcock Marine graduate scheme, public sector audit functions, Eon graduate schemes, NHS management training, and so on. And we'll also have a number of students each year heading off to master's programs. Some of these master's programs may be students wishing to increase their knowledge of economics programs at places such as UCL or King's College. Other students go off and want to broaden their knowledge by taking up management MBA programs and so on, such as Warwick, St Andrews, etc. Now, the key question you're going to be wanting to ask yourselves is, why choose economics at Plymouth? What is it about the Plymouth programme that's special? I've already said our staff are extremely good at explaining things, as shown by the National Student Survey. What we have on the screen at the moment are a couple of quotes. One is from Shahana, a current first year BSc economics student, and another from Maria, who graduated a few years ago from our financial degree programme. Now, Shahana is saying, one of the most important aspects when looking at universities is the course content. I'll say a little bit about that in a few moments. But the range of opportunities available, not just on modules, but placement experience, advice from tutors, and so on. You'll find that our staff are extremely welcoming. Most will be operating an open door policy. They're very happy to answer your queries. You can go past, knock on their door, go in, they will do what they can to support you. Maria making a similar comment. It may sound funny, but one of the best memories of studying was the library, the course mates for dissertation. Just being around other people, supporting each other, listening to each other, helping each other out and learning from each other. This is an area where I think Plymouth excels. We have a relatively medium-sized economics programme at Plymouth that allows the staff to know the students well, but also the student community to build on the course. Everybody can get to know everybody and work together and support each other within building a vibrant student community. We also offer additional opportunities. You'll find these listed around the website. We have a Bloomberg room. There's not many institutions around the country with this. This is access to almost real-time financial information, news tickers, and so on. We also run and support students to enter a good number of business competitions, such as the IBM Business Challenge, and we offer extensive support from our careers service in terms of preparing CVs, preparing you for interviews, and so on. Again, you'll find an extensive information on this on the relevant parts of the university webpage. Now, if we turn to our economics suite, we offer 3 programs: our flagship BSc Economics program, and then 2 additional programs for those with interests in specific areas of business economics and financial economics. I'd just like to spend a few moments just mentioning some of the sorts of topics that you might cover on these programs. So thinking about the 3 programs together, first of all, some of the topics would be things like international trade. What policy instruments could be used to encourage international trade? What are the positive and negative effects of each of these instruments? Perhaps you're more interested in international finance than international trade. So financial topics could be, how do you explain an exchange rate movement? Perhaps moving on from this, how do you think about how capital flows around the globe as these exchange rates move through time? Maybe you're interested in environmental and resource economics. Perhaps you'd like to know more about sustainable development. How does sustainable development relate to the use of resources and the emissions of pollution? And again, moving on from that, what policy instruments could you put in place to support economic development? How do these affect the use of renewable and non-renewable resources? How do they affect pollution? Perhaps you're interested in economic growth. Perhaps you would like to know more about how income differs across countries and why, for example, in areas like sub-Saharan Africa, GDP levels are extremely low, but they don't seem to be catching other countries up, both within Africa and beyond. Those of you that are interested in the programs business economics and financial economics, some of the topics you might be looking at there could be things such as, why do firms use different pricing strategies? What is it about these strategies that increase their payoffs? We'll also be analysing things like comparing market potential across different structures and different markets. In financial economics, we'll be looking at topics such as, how would you evaluate and rank different capital investment projects with different payoffs over different time periods? Perhaps you'd like to know how to construct an asset portfolio aiming to maximise returns for a different level of risk. There are many, many applied topics that you can cover on these programs. Again, if you have a look at our website, it'll tell you a little bit more about each of the modules. If you do have any additional questions, please just get in touch with me. I'm going to put my email up at the end of this presentation, and I'll happily get back to anybody to answer any questions they have, either on email or perhaps through a Skype conversation or a telephone conversation, whatever would suit you best. If we now move on, I think, not just about the applied topics, but how the programs are structured and what you might gain from each of the stages on our programs. Now, what I'm about to say will apply across all of the programs, will obviously be expressed differently within each program, given the different focuses and the different titles that they have. But our first year is really saying, you want to become a qualified economist. And in order to do that, we need to immerse you right from the start in thinking like an economist. And hopefully, by the time you get to our third year, you'll be in a position to enter the labour market and gain some of this professional employment that I talked about, some of these employers I mentioned at the start. Now, it's well documented that economics has one of the highest financial returns of all degrees. For the last few years, the Institute for Fiscal Studies has produced a report saying the earnings potential for economists is second after medicine. And we think part of the reason for this is that economists can typically think very, very clearly within structured frameworks. That's what we're starting to develop on our first year. We're starting with the core ideas and concepts that all economists get together on, things that unify the discipline. But we don't just want you to know what those ideas and concepts are. We want you to be able to use them. We want you to be able to use them in the real world. Perhaps you'd like to evaluate the policy if you're thinking of working in the public sector and suggest improvements for that policy. Perhaps you'd like to make a business decision on pricing, investment, and so on. If you're going to be making those decisions or policy evaluations, you need to be able to use data. You need to be able to confront your economic ideas and concepts with real world data. So we start to build that on our first year. It's embedded within our modules. And the final building block in our first year are the applied topics. What is it that you're interested in? You will see modules in our first year developing microeconomics, macroeconomics, microeconomics, individual firms, individual consumers, the macroeconomics, the larger issues, unemployment, inflation, economic growth, exchange rates. But these aren't the only applied topics on our first year. You will see modules introducing business and financial economics. Within other modules, such as economics in action, we will have a number of applied topics that will interest different students. Stage 2 then moves on to build upon this foundation. We're deepening your knowledge here. We're starting to further develop the core theory and the data analysis, with additional modules in areas of econometrics, macroeconomics. But we're also starting here to introduce modules that reflect the degree titles, specialist modules in business economics, specialist modules in financial economics, modules on economic perspectives. Different economists examining the same topics will have very different opinions. Why is this? What's driving their different opinions? What is this about the real world that they think is different? Where do they disagree? We don't just want you to be able to say there's this opinion and there's that opinion. We want you to be able to say why people have these differences of opinion. What is it that they can agree on and what is it that they can disagree on? And then if we understand why they disagree, we can start to have conversations about those disagreements. And finally, on the second year, you'll start to see that you can tailor your program through elective choice. All of our programs will have a third of the modules on the second year, which you can select from a list of appropriate modules. Again, you can see information on this on our webpage. After completing the second year, you could progress straight to stage 3 or the final stage. We would encourage you to think about a placement. Again, this is an area where I think Plymouth excels. A good number of our students every year will go off and engage in a work placement to gain invaluable professional experience. Recent placement destinations include things like the Office for National Statistics, Goldman Sachs, Aldi, BAE Systems, Innovation Enterprise, Toyota, Volkswagen, the Home Office, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Hewlett-Packard, and so on. Again, if you'd like a little bit more information on this, have a look at our website and have a look at our placement page. As part of our second year, we offer a bespoke placement preparation module, which will take you through things that will help you identify the right placement for you. They will support you to develop your CV and so on. Again, you'll find plenty more information on our webpage. We then move to our final stage. The final stage is really about advanced topics. This is about advanced ideas and advanced theory, but also bringing everything that you've learned on your degree together. So within this final year, you'll do a capstone dissertation project. That's really aiming to bring those 3 things I mentioned a few moments ago together. Some core idea, some core block of theory within economics that interests you, that inspires you, and you're motivated to learn more about. Taking that topic and identifying something that is of interest to you within it. What topic are you interested in? Something within international trade, something within environmental economics, a business topic, a financial topic, working with a member of staff to identify some sort of gap, something that you can work on for the year. Take your topic, identify your question, perhaps work with some economic data, identify a conclusion, a recommendation, policy evaluation, and so on. Hopefully, this will bring all of the aspects of thinking like an economist together, and it's this that will hopefully open doors to you in the future to allow you to gain access to that earnings potential that I mentioned a few minutes ago. Now, there's obviously a lot more I could tell you about economics at Plymouth and how we can help unlock your potential. There's obviously a limit to the amount that I can go through in this short presentation. So I'd strongly encourage you to get in touch, and we'll do your best to answer any questions or queries that you may have. You can do this using the email that I'm displaying on the screen at the moment. Hopefully later in the year we'll also be running some virtual open days. This should give you access to some of our current undergraduate students. They're really the best advocate for our programme, and they'll be able to talk to you about the programmes, talk about things from their point of view. So please, as I say, do get in touch if there's anything you would like to know about undergraduate economics at Plymouth. Thank you very much for your time.